Our project is the Video Games for Assessment project. The goal of our project is to map video game traits to the 6 Hexaco personality traits and create a game that successfully identifies personality features. This project gives researchers a more interesting and engaging way to test personality traits. We decided to approach this game in 2 ways. 1, to do research and map personality traits into certain gameplay features, and 2, to create a game to assess these traits using Unity. After discussing with our client, we decided that the best way to implement the game was for each personality trait to have several minigames, with each minigame focusing on 1 or 2 personality traits. The games will all be somewhat connected thematically, as we decided the plot of our game would be about exploring a town in which each part of the town would be a different room/game. In this sprint, now that our research is done, we wanted to focus on implementing core gameplay elements for each of the rooms. The first minigame room we worked on was for the conscientiousness trait, and was in the farm part of the town. We now updated the artwork of the game, such as resizing the chickens, adding more chickens, and adding a pen for the chickens to go into. We have also implemented functionality, such as automating the chickens to move back and forth across the screen. We have been focusing on developing the core systems that will support each different room of the game. For example, we added the functionality for generating unique flag ID numbers so that we can easily trigger events and save information about the player's accomplishments. This ties into improvements in the dialogue system, which now supports branching dialogue options depending on what actions the player has taken. We also created a functional version of the character select screen. With this, the player can see a name, description, and portrait for each playable character. Right now, the player character color is the only thing changing depending on character selection, but since the art is not a priority for beginning sprints, this is fine. Another reusable component we worked on is the pushable block object. A pushable block is a component meant for block puzzles, where the player must figure out how to move blocks into certain places in order to trigger some event. The block moves according to a strict grid and only moves left or right and up and down, not diagonally. This allows the player to easily push the block into the destination spot. The next minigame room is for extroversion and agreeableness, which was at the town center. This is the room that the player would start in when beginning the game. The player can run into an NPC, the mayor, who appears to be very chatty and continues to chat with the player for a while. Here, we will test the extroversion and agreeableness for the player by counting how long the player lets the mayor talk before exiting the conversation. The player can also view available tasks for completion at the bulletin board, which we will update with more tasks as we build them in. The player can also walk into the shop, which takes them to another room, the town shop. We have designed this room so that there is an NPC shopkeeper and an unassuming shopper who turns into a thief. We will implement this interaction in the next sprint. For now, the player is able to walk in and out of the shop as they please. We also created a matching card game in the park scene to measure the player's level of conscientiousness. The player clicks on 2 cards, and if they match, they disappear. As of now, the actual images are not on the cards. We just have a white square as a stand-in. In the next sprint, we will add the final images to the cards.